All right, welcome to another edition of 151. I'm Adam with Justin.
On your left.
On your left. We're here for another week of 151. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, YouTube. All the information is already out there or on the bottom of the screen right here. Yeah, that is if I get fancy and put in the... no, stop moving. That makes it hard, you know?
It could be here, 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 or here.
It could be any one of those places.
Much like your flight attendant exits.
Yeah, last time we talked about Deadpool and our reviews of that. We both really liked it. This week we go to a movie that came out in December. Christmas time. Long
overdue.
Star Wars. Finally came out. The Force Awakens hit in December. We saw it over...
Opening weekend.
It was opening weekend, but we saw it like Sunday morning.
Which...
There was a line for it, and I took a picture of it because I was kind of amazed that there was still a line for it.
But I can tell you, honestly, Sunday morning, not a bad time to go see a movie.
No, and there were a lot of people at that, weren't there?
There were, yeah. It was full. It was not over full. It was 9:30 on a Sunday morning, but you get some coffee, some popcorn, go together surprisingly well. It is the only time that I've drank that much fluid, spent that much time continuously in a movie, because it's not a short movie.
No, it's not.
And I didn't even realize I had to pee until the end.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I'm more of a Star Trek guy.
Yep.
I always have been. I don't really know why. I just like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm. So as do I.
Star Wars, it's not like I don't like it. It just never was one of my real passions. Mm-hmm. And I came out of that movie and I was very satisfied.
Yes.
That was a very satisfying movie. It was very, right when it happened, I really enjoyed it. Like, I was like, man, this is like one of the best movies I've seen.
Yep.
And then time kind of pressed on and I started having different thoughts about it.
Started thinking about it, started reviewing it.
And you know what? I got to tell you, it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It was a good movie. Don't get me wrong. It was good. I had fun. I enjoyed it. But is it the masterpiece that all these people are making it out to be? I don't think so.
No, it's not. It's an enjoyable movie. The lights went dim. I kind of had that holy crap, surrealistic. I'm actually sitting, 32 years later, after the last Star Wars movie came out, and they said they did some student films, like in the late 90s, but I never watched them. There are only 3 Star Wars movies. So the last Star Wars movie since Return of the Jedi that came out, sitting there in disbelief, that I'm actually seeing this again. And I was riveted. I enjoyed it.
You know what? I wish I got the feeling about the prequels that I got from this movie. And I went to the theater. Like, I remember going to the theater, and we actually went to the Springwood 9, I think, in Ankeny. And it was a brand new theater at the time. I was like, oh, they got a new sound system, all this. It's Star Wars. It's going to be big. It's going to be loud. It's going to be kind of epic. And I remember coming out just really let down. Oh. Just amazingly let down.
Huge. 1999.
Yeah, the second one comes out, Attack of the Clones. It's a little better. It's got a little bit more action in it. It's still kind of,
It's still a piece of crap.
Third one, Revenge of the Sith. Listen, I don't hate Revenge of the Sith. I don't by any means think it's a great movie.
Best of the 3.
But I don't hate it. I can watch that one.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that with a good editing suite, there is one good movie out of all 3 of those.
Well, that's what someone did. Someone took all 3 of them. It's some Hollywood guy.
Topher Grace.
Yeah, and he edited all 3 of them down into a very watchable, very enjoyable.
And I haven't seen it. I know it exists, but I've never seen it.
But getting back to The Force Awakens, I came out of it and I thought, wow, that was a good Star Wars movie. That really was. It was fun. It had about everything you could hope for. It had ups and downs, and and then, like I said at the beginning of this, time kind of went by, and I started thinking about some of this stuff, and I'm like, man, they took A New Hope and Empire and smashed them together into one movie.
Well, I mean,
And let me explain. One of the things that got me thinking about it the most at that point, I was up until then I was like, it's got some similarity. It's no big deal. But then someone took the like plot of A New Hope, right, and like wrote it out, and then they went through and they scratched out, like Luke for Rey, and this for they scratched out this stuff. It's essentially the same movie.
Yeah, but
it's the same damn thing.
But you can do that too. Okay, let's scratch out Luke and put in King Arthur. Let's scratch out Obi-Wan and put in Merlin.
Yeah,
I mean that is the Arthurian legend. That's a story that's been repeated time and time and time and time.
Look over your shoulder.
And time again.
The one cat. That is my cat Wrigley.
Hello, Wrigley.
He's stuck down here. But anyways, yeah. I get that it's a very straightforward, easy story. I don't think there's anything, especially the original, 3.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything really overly complex about it.
Oh, I'm not making an excuse. I mean, it is.
You keep talking for a second.
Okay. It is. Yeah, it is essentially the same thing. I mean, it's definitely a cycle.
You little bastard.
But that does happen in real life as he goes up the stairs. Don't
go back down. Come on up.
Come on, kitty. Go, kitty.
Come on, Wrigley.
Things do work in a cycle. I mean, I can't completely excuse
screw it.
I can't completely excuse it, but it does happen.
And we blew the light.
Now both of them are down here.
Oh, jeez. Anyways, so
This is where we need one of those little technical difficulty screens.
I know that or the da 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 da
exactly.
da da. Anyways, what were you saying? Before we were so rudely interrupted by my cats.
There's thematic similarities, and it's kind of sloppy filmmaking, and they still managed to entertain me for 2.5 hours. So, I give an easy pass. I mean, Death Star, Star Killer Base. By the same token, they built one Death Star. Oh, well, they blew it up. Well, let's build another one. I mean, you can explain that kind of in-universe as the Empire ain't the smartest tools in the shed.
I was going to say, how did the Empire, make it? They have really bad just management, design ideas.
Too much power in the hands of too few people that are subject to bad days. I mean, look at Vader. You take an admiral who's had a sterling record, probably been decorated, commanded thousands and thousands of troops, management for an entire sector, maybe a really gifted administrator. Vader comes in and says, I want these, these rebels.
Yeah.
Well, dude, they fixed the hyperdrive and they got away, and the next thing you know, that a complete waste of talent and resources because Vader just force choked a bitch. I mean,
but think about
that
it.
is not a good management style to get ahead.
There's no way. I mean, one, they make giant bases that always get destroyed.
Yep.
It's like if you save your money right there, you're gonna, increase your strength tenfold.
Oh yeah.
At the least. The other thing, who builds a big walking camel?
Well, I mean, obviously the Empire.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. Repulsor technology available, and we're going to build a giant dog that we ride around in.
So, getting back to Force Awakens, I'm really off subject now because the cats just messed me up.
They really kind of threw you.
They really...
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Okay, so do we want to just examine the plot, or do we just want to talk about it in general?
We can talk about... I don't know. What do you want to do?
Well, I mean, let's establish some basics.
I mean, we've had a couple.
If you have not seen The Force Awakens, just go on ahead and turn this off. Skip to the next one. This isn't gonna work for you.
That's where we'll ruin some other completely different movie for you.
We're gonna spoil some. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we'll hit the highlights. Okay, so we got the girl, we got the Luke Skywalker stand-in, we got Rey.
Yeah.
No backstory. We don't know. I mean, we had more story about Luke, which wasn't much because, I mean, let's face it, you take away what you know about Luke Skywalker now, and, he's just some dumb kid that's whining about Tashi Station and power converters.
and then completely forgets that his family was murdered in front of him.
Exactly.
Essentially.
You know, he's just some weird kid drinking blue milk.
Well, see you guys later.
Yep.
Off to go off with the bum into space.
Well, yeah, you know, some weird hermit living in the rocks. I mean, he might be, you know, on a Tatooine sex offender database somewhere.
For all we know, Obi-Wan Kenobi was a meth dealer.
Exactly.
On Tatooine.
Exactly.
I mean, if you really think about it, living out in the middle of nowhere without anybody in his hut.
Yep.
I mean, he was either that or a moonshiner.
Well, and
I mean, come on, think about it.
We've got to go back to some poor decision-making skills, because let's take the most arguably the most dangerous man in the universe, Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Let's take two kids he knows nothing about.
Yeah.
Let's stick one of them with his mother's, you know, adopted kid, stepson.
Yeah.
On his home planet, and then we've proven that Force users can sense each other, which, I mean, the whole Force feeling the presence thing.
Yeah.
Has always, we really only mention it once. You know, it's kind of like the Highlander, you know, the Immortals thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But let's say that Anakin Skywalker can always sense Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hang out next to your kid, the one thing that I'm desperately trying to protect you from. Not only am I here on your home planet, but I've stuck him with the people that you know.
Yeah.
And
that you've literally sat down to dinner with.
Yes, and I'm not making any... I didn't even change his last name.
Yeah, that's the other thing about it. But where were we going with just the poor planning?
Yes, so we start with a child that we know nothing about.
Yes,
just like we did with Luke.
Yes, Rey.
Who obviously had some sort of protector nearby because we had, you know, Poe Dameron show up and try and get the information, get the map. The whole thing is, yes, it is a set of plot contrivances. We only use 3 planets.
Mm-hmm.
We, you know, everybody knows everybody in this huge galactic universe. It's all the drama, you know, of the Skywalkers. But, I mean, for God's sake, the Millennium Falcon ends up on this same planet. But I think you have to allow a certain amount of that because it's Star Wars. That's how Star Wars works.
It's easy.
It is.
So you've got a movie that girl, she has some kind of powers that we find out at the end. She's a Force worker of some sort. You have Kylo, who is just a big bitch.
Okay, have you ever seen the movie Grandma's Boy?
Yes.
The nerdy
kid?
Yeah. Totally Kylo Ren.
Yep, you got him. You've got Captain Phasma.
Yeah.
Who, I don't get her at all.
I got chrome-plated armor. I'm cool.
That was such a disappointment. You see, you know, the badass stormtrooper in chrome.
Boba Fett.
Which she's essentially just middle management.
But she's this Boba Fett. I mean, I still, for the life of me, cannot understand why people get, you know, wound up about Boba. Boba got taken out like a bitch.
Yeah.
So did Phasma. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of build-up and not a lot of payoff there.
You got the one stormtrooper that can't take watching anybody die.
Yep.
Which I can't even think of that dude's name now. Finn. There it is.
Yep.
It's like ding.
FN 2817, I believe.
Wow, you nerd.
Yeah, I know, right?
Watch, it's not right. So then in the comments of this, someone's just gonna destroy you.
Yeah.
It's not Finn 2887. It's Finn 288937.
Yeah, exactly.
You dumbass.
Exactly.
But
and for anybody who gets that nitpicky, I've been with a woman.
I have a child to prove it.
Exactly.
But you know, just movie-wise, like I said, it was enjoyable. But you know, just the more I think about it, it's very predictable. It's very relies on a lot of things. Just
tropes.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, you know, we find the Millennium Falcon, and then all of a sudden, Han just happens to show up. Oh, hey, someone stole my ship, or I lost it a couple years back, or whatever.
Well, the explanation for that is supposedly that when they fired it back up, the homing beacon kicked on, and he could track it. So, but yes, I will simulate that encounter. We're running through the desert. Oh, look, we stole a ship. Oh, it's a hunk of junk. This is the Millennium Falcon.
That's not the Millennium
I
Falcon. How
know,
dare you?
It's Sovereign class Enterprise E, but still.
It's a beautiful ship.
So it is. It is a beautiful ship. So we're flying along. Bigger ship. I didn't have two.
You didn't have two. There's a Galaxy class one right over there, and the Defiance over there with Devastator.
I only saw one. I didn't pay attention, so I didn't grab two. So bigger ship comes along,
Here.
sucks in this ship.
Well, it's not bigger, but it's another
Okay,
ship.
so Millennium Falcon, and we just happen to show up in the same place. And who's captaining this guy? But Han Solo, the original owner of the Millennium Falcon. Incredible coincidence.
That thing's starting to come apart, isn't it?
I'm not gonna lie, I just picked this up. I didn't know when I was gonna use it. I just wanted to play with a little ship. Whoosh.
Oh, we'll get to Star Trek. Don't you worry. So you have that part. I will say this: when they did get in the Falcon and flew it around on the planet and stuff, that's some of the best action I've ever seen. That was really, really cool. That chase scene.
All of the ship combat was by far, it was 30 some years of improvements. It was exactly what I would expect.
Yeah.
And it was the right combination of CGI and realistic effects.
Yeah. So you have that. You have the overall plan of the movie essentially the same as New Hope. Oh, there's a base that's going to blow up everybody.
Yep.
So we got to get to that. You have the weird thing about Rey is, the Force visions with the lightsaber, which we've never seen before.
Nope.
At least not in movie wise. It probably happened in some of the books somewhere.
The old extended universe that they took out.
Yeah.
Probably.
You have, and then, good versus evil. Han dies.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we already told them. It's not my problem. If you haven't seen the movie by now,
Look,
it's not my problem, okay?
The hardest thing that even me sitting there, is just jazzed to have a new Star Wars is, R2-D2's depressed since Luke's been gone.
Yeah.
And suddenly he powered up and he's got the other half of the map. Gee, you couldn't have done that a half an hour ago before we just lost a whole bunch of fighters.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible timing. But,
Well, the other thing, do you ever see the meme about R2-D2?
No.
That BB-8 is him and the Death Star's kid.
Nice. Nice. From the data port incident.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then, a whole bunch of different fan theories about this movie, which we're actually going to do a complete segment on here in the next couple weeks or so. But, you leave us with the movie left us with a lot of unanswered questions. Who's Rey's parents? Why is Luke on this island?
Why did he pull an Obi-Wan in the first place? I mean,
yeah.
Let's face it. We're getting into a lot of galactic strife over basically one family's drama.
Mm-hmm.
And nephew or not, when that little bastard started going south, Luke should have snuck up behind him with a lightsaber and taken care of the problem and said, "Oh, sorry. I guess now you've got two kids, one named Kylo, one named Ren, because his top half's over here and his bottom half's over there." And we could have saved a lot of problem here.
Yeah, I just...
Really getting tired of powerful Jedi just retreating to a planet not doing anything. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you're supposed to be the balance here, man.
Exactly.
Snoke, you've got who's he? Where did he come from?
I'm pretty sure that's actually just Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
Quite possibly.
My precious.
Some people are saying it's a clone. Some people are saying it's
Sidious. Darth Sidious.
Darth Sidious's master.
Oh, yeah, because Palpatine was Sidious.
Yeah.
Darth...
Florius.
Fligger.
Yeah, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have a lot... I mean, it's a great setup for a new series. It's... I don't know. I liked it. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of qualms with it. It's just, it's kind of predictable. It's not as epic as it led me to believe.
And in that case, it probably succeeds very, very well as a Star Wars movie. Because think about, let's go back 30-some years. Let's go back to 79. The original Star Wars has come out. We have no backstory. We don't know Darth Vader's Luke's father. We don't know, spoiler alert. We don't know.
Whoops.
We don't know all this stuff. I mean, there's no 30 years of canon because an extended universe because everything that we look at those movies now
Yeah.
is colored with those glasses.
Yeah, we know all this.
We know all this. I mean, you go back and examine, the kiss with the fact that they're brother and sister. I mean, when that happened, the allowance hadn't been made for that yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't know. It wasn't weird. It was just a big holy crap later on when everything happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're in that same situation right now.
Let me ask you this about it. You look at this movie, and it has a lot of similarities to the original trilogy.
Correct.
Right? Would this movie have been as big? Would people have loved it as much if the prequels were better?
Because right now this is like a glass of water to a man who's been dying of thirst in the desert.
My thoughts here on this are that you look at this movie, and the prequels were so different than the original trilogy.
Yes.
For better or for worse, they were so different that people weren't happy with it.
Yep.
Okay. So if you took
Hard to get excited about 30 minutes of galactic politics.
Yeah. If you took those out of the equation, or you put them, but actually before the other movie.
Yeah.
If they're not right before this movie comes out, would people have gone into this movie and come out and been, oh, that's the greatest movie ever? Or would they been more like me and saying, that's a new hope. They're just doing the same thing over again.
It's hard to say. I guess I look at it. Would have been if it was the first one. If we were picking up the story here,
yeah.
didn't have any of the other 6 movies.
Yeah.
I think the reason it did what it did at the box office was just to shoot up at record paces and blow everything out of the water and then plateau. Was because of what you're talking about. Because everybody who went and saw the follow-up and wanted to see it and was desperate to see it did. And they did it right away as quick as they could get to it. And all the new people that would have held that movie, up to get it to Avatar status, stuff like that, they didn't go see it.
Because I will, let me put this in it too. If George Lucas hadn't have made all the changes to like the original series, original trilogy that he did, and just kind of keep tweaking everything, would this movie has been as big? Or is it that you finally had someone that is just a Star Wars fan, J.J. Abrams, making the movie and making, not going, oh, we got to have all this, we got to do this,
Correct. Correct.
Is it just that it's
a little.
Is it just because people were pissed off at George Lucas for going back and ruining a good thing?
No, but I think the way this movie took form is a response to that. I think the use of practical effects, the we built a real Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a response to what you're talking about.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if it drove people to see it or not see it. I think it just shaped the movie itself.
I just think much like how we talked about last time with Deadpool. You had all of this stuff that happened before the movie that led up to some of the excitement. Yeah. With Star Wars, I feel like you have that kind of same thing. You have all the news about George Lucas, selling it off, or even prior to that, going through and cutting, recutting, redoing the Han Solo scene.
Yep.
How many times did he do that? How many times did he re-release stuff, and take something really great and make it into, I can make it better. No, it was fine beforehand.
Yep.
So if you take out the anger that people had at George Lucas, if you take out how bad the prequels were and how those never really paid off as much as people wanted them to, I don't think this movie's as big. I think people look at it, they're like, okay, it's a Star Wars movie.
Well, I guess I think 2 things. One, while we're on the subject of Deadpool, just to compare the two. If I had to recommend one of the two for somebody to go see, I'd tell them to go see Deadpool in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So there is that to think about. And I mean, it's a friggin' Star Wars movie, and I would say go see Deadpool instead. Yeah. 2, I think the bar, like you said, for all that stuff leading up to it. Deadpool, it was a can they succeed? And The Force Awakens, we were all just kind of anxiously sitting there waiting to see how they were going to F it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Because we'd been burned before. I mean, what I told you that morning is, okay, don't F this up because, I've been hurt before, you know, with the prequels. I remember walking out of that theater in 1999 when
Just
The Phantom Menace... Heartbroken, yeah. I mean, I'd been, 19 years old. Jedi came out in 83, when I was 3 years old, so my entire life I'd grown up with those.
Mm-hmm.
This was the first new Star Wars movie that I was ever going to get to see, and by God, this was going to be great. Yeah. And this was going to be like, I'm 19, and like I knew 40-year-olds that were, huge Star Wars, and this was going to be mine.
Yeah.
And it was just a huge punch to the nuts.
Yeah.
And I walked out of that theater from, The Force Awakens not feeling that way at all.
No, you were happy.
Yes, I feel very jealous of the little kids who got to see this one for their first Star Wars movie.
I that's always been my question about this movie. Would people have liked it as much if you didn't have all that other stuff?
I think they would have.
I think they would have liked it. I don't think it would have been the success that it was.
I think having those to contrast against does make it seem better, and I think it did influence the filmmaking, but I think it did it in both a positive and a negative way.
Yeah. I did like when George Lucas came out afterwards and said he liked it, but it was more of he would have liked to seen it go in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? You can hate George Lucas for everything he's done, and you can hate him for the prequels. But I have to give him credit for doing something different.
Yeah, and he's the guy who did it in the first place. I mean, you got to give him credit for that.
It's kind of like people with Metallica. I always think I think it's a good way to kind of explain it. It's like they put out CD. They're like, oh, I don't like this one. Why don't you do Black again, or why don't you do one of these other ones? And then they do Saint Anger, which everyone hated. And it's like, okay, well, they made the CD they wanted, they made the music they wanted, and they tried something different. If you don't ever try anything different, you don't get better.
Yeah.
You don't get, anything new. You just get the rehash of everything. And I part of me wonders if, and I really believe that if this movie had come out without all that other stuff, it wouldn't have been as big of a movie. I think people would have liked it. Don't get me wrong. I think it would have been enjoyable, but I don't think they'd put it on a pedestal that it's on.
Yeah.
So
I guess big mysteries that we need to talk about. Who do you think Rey's parents are?
The easy one is she's a Skywalker.
Yep. I think that's a total cop-out, though, if they take it that way.
Yeah, but it would fit into Star Wars.
I mean, if she's a
if
she's a Skywalker, she's got to be some random hookup that Luke never even knew existed.
Yeah. Now is she? Because we saw Kylo use the Force to on memory and all this. Could Luke have wiped it out that she's actually the daughter of Han and Leia?
Yeah, but
because she knew the ship, she knew the ins and outs of it. She
but
she knows Wookiee.
He'd had to wipe Han and Leia too, because otherwise you're gonna tell me that they're not gonna say anything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like you had an Anakin Skywalker where they were trying to hide twins.
Yeah,
it's not like he went one step farther than what Ben Kenobi did, because he hated what Ben Kenobi did to him so much. I can't see him going down the same road. And if we do, we really do just have an update of the original movies, and they've lost my dollar. I can tell you that.
I've seen that they have said that she is a Kenobi, which would be interesting.
Would be interesting.
And the best one I've seen, the one I actually kind of like the most, is that she's reincarnated Anakin. And that's why she had so many visions when she touched the old lightsaber.
Yeah.
That's how she,
because it was Luke's original one, which was Anakin's original that Obi-Wan gave to him. Well, then, okay.
And it's the ultimate redemption story.
Then why was she walking the halls of Cloud City and not walking into the Youngling Academy when Anakin takes them all down?
What do you mean?
I mean, in the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, when Anakin kills all the kids, I mean, if you're going to see a traumatic event associated with an object,
yeah, good call.
that'd be the one.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's reincarnated Anakin, why would she flash back to what Luke did?
Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. But that's the one. That's the one I kind of like the most. That's the one I'm kind of hoping for, just because it would be different. It'd be cool and it'd be different, you know.
I don't know.
Because like you said, if it's just, you know, she's a Skywalker of some sort or whatever, it's like, okay.
Look, if she's Leia's daughter,
yeah,
she better damn well be Leia's illegitimate daughter with Lando.
No, that's Finn.
No, he was like a clone taken from
No, he had parents.
Oh, that's right, he did have
parents. Everybody keeps going towards that he's Lando's kid.
Ah.
Yeah, which I don't.
They're just trying to connect the two black guys in the Star Wars universe.
But no, I think if I was going to go with one, I like that one the most. I don't know who came up with it or whatever, but it would be kind of cool. It'd be different.
I know we'll have to see what we come up with between now and then when we do if we do fan theories.
Yep. The only other real thought I had after watching some of the lightsaber battles, which by the way, the one stormtrooper that whips that thing around, that guy's badass. Like, that's who Captain Phasma should have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That guy. That was like my favorite.
Completely reminded me of the old PR-24 batons.
Yeah.
Swing batons.
Let's see. Lightsaber stuff. Oh, I just watched this and I'm like, man, Anakin in number 3 would wipe the floor with all of you people. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, oh, they were so, you know, what's it called? They were so staged and, you know, choreographed and stuff. No, he was a fully trained Jedi Knight.
Yeah, and the height of his powers.
Yeah.
I mean, one with the Force.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, but these are untrained kids. I mean, they haven't had I'll be interested to see what Luke does. You know, because you know Luke's throwing down with somebody at some point during this thing.
Well, in the I know it's not canon anymore, but in the extended universe, he was just crazy good, crazy powerful. Yep. I got to show you one thing before we wrap up this Star Wars talk. And where's it at? No, it's in my Facebook page. I know this is bad podcasting here. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna leave you with that. There was a hand too. Did you bring the hand?
Well, he's probably been lonely on that island.
Oh, all right. Yeah. All right, friends, that's going to do it for this edition of 151. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, and I believe there will be a little thing coming up here at the end that'll be like, hey, follow us on all these pages, and you should do that. We'll see you next time. If you like this video as much as Justin did, please make sure to follow us on these other fine media platforms.